So I've got a thought on communication and how different things can be with regard to our styles of communication, and yet somehow the result can be the same. I was at a restaurant the other night watching a football game, and the waiter, who was a young man of Asian descent, born of Chinese parents, was working really hard. That was a family work ethic that he had been raised with, and he found it very easy to communicate with me. I was simply holding space for whatever was meant to come out of his mouth so that we could have an interaction that would be positive for him. That was the space I was holding. He mentioned that he doesn't speak well with his parents, that their upbringing was one of silence, one of quiet, one of just do what you're supposed to do your work, and not be heard. I grew up in a Jewish family in the deep South. My great-grandmother used to have an expression, 10 Jews, 11 opinions, which was her way of saying, we're going to communicate freely, and everyone's going to know where everyone stands. Well, his family was silent, and there was no communication. My family was loud and demonstrative, but sometimes still no communication, because in all of the noise that happened in my family, we were all so busy expressing ourselves, we did not always take the time to actually listen to what was being spoken. Some families have no communication in the silence. Our family had no communication amid the noise. I found it interesting that communication or lack thereof can happen when there's no speaking or when there's no hearing. Maybe if we all felt as free as we now do to speak, but gave everyone an ear and tried to listen not from our perspective but from theirs, so that we could come to know from their communication where they stand and why they stand where they stand on various social, political, economic issues on which we may debate on a regular basis, sometimes vehemently. Maybe if communication was actually a two-way thing, with speaking and listening, with a listening that was based around understanding, not preparation to respond, maybe things might be a bit better. Just a thought.